Losing has never been a good feeling. Regardless of which team you support, at some point the novelty of watching your rival lose wears off. Today, we're going to dig deep into a lot of losses in the NFL realm. Recently, the Jets claimed the longest active streak of losing to a single team, and that's pretty saddening, especially for New Yorkers. But that's not it. Do you know what team has the most consecutive losses in the NFL? Well, we're going to find out all about that and more in just a moment, so let's jump right into the video. How many times have the New York Jets been defeated? The Jets haven't won a game since former quarterback Sam Darnold made his debut in Week 1 of 2018. Darnold, who was once highly regarded, led the Jets to a 48-17 victory over the Detroit Lions to kick off the 28th season. The team went on to lose the next 3 games in the same month, as well as every September game until 2021. The Jets have 2 more September games against the Cleveland Browns and the Cincinnati Bengals to try to snap their streak. New York has a better chance of beating the Browns, who will be without suspended quarterback Deshaun Watson. For the time being, Jacoby Brissett is the Browns' starting quarterback. Where do the Jets stand in the game? The New York Jets could have potentially gained ground on the New England Patriots in the tight AFC East race with a win in one of the recent matches, but they went down 10-6 after trading field goals and punts. Just before the game ended, Marcus Jones returned a punt 84 yards for a touchdown. This was the first of its kind this season. At this point, the Jets have lost 14 straight games to the Patriots. This means that they are breaking the Denver Broncos' losing streak against the Kansas City Chiefs for the longest active streak. This is not only shocking, but fans are sad as well. It is just one of only 8 times a team has lost 14 or more games to a single opponent ever since 1970. No other team has come close to topping that record set by the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins during their time. It is being reported that the Jets still have a long way to go until they beat out the Buffalo Bills, who had 20 losses during their time against the Miami Dolphins. Fans are counting down on that experience. Where have the Jets' prolific passers been in the NFL matches? Joe Namath was on fire that day, as he was throughout the 1967 season. The New York Jets legend passed for 343 yards and 4 touchdowns in the final game, defeating the San Diego Chargers 42-31 despite not throwing a single pass in the fourth quarter. Namath's counterpart effectively surrendered after his 4th touchdown pass. Namath finished the season with 4,007 passing yards, an AFL and NFL record, though he didn't realize it until the public relations staff informed him after the game. Nowadays, it would have been announced during the game, and he would have received a notification on his phone when he returned to the locker room. He is well known for his quick release and deep balls. Why have the Jets' passing games not broken out? Well, since the end of the Namath era in 1976, the Jets have used 21 full-time starting quarterbacks. Everyone surpassed 3,500 yards, including Ryan Fitzpatrick, Ken O'Brien, and Vinny Testaverde. But none made first-team All-Pro, and no one led his team to a Super Bowl, as Namath did in 1968. All of them have had some good quarterbacks, including Testaverde and Boomer Esiason. There have been 76 individual 4,000-yard seasons since 2015. A variety of factors have contributed to the Jets' 55-year winless streak. For one thing, they've only had 5 top 10 offenses since Namath in terms of yards per game. That works out to about once a year. Every great quarterback requires a great receiver, which the Jets have lacked for a long time. In the last 22 years, they've only had 1 Pro Bowl wide receiver, Brandon Marshall, in 2015. Some of it, according to O'Brien, is true. What are the reasons behind the New York Jets not doing well? According to fans, if the Jets can actually find a quarterback, that would go a long way. It's going to be hard to do much when all the hope are on Mark Sanchez, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, or an injury replacement since 2009. They weren't going anywhere with the way Wilson played either. Since 2000, the Jets have had more playoff appearances and victories and have drafted more Hall of Famers. Overall, it is pretty evident that the drafting is terrible. The quarterback play is mediocre, and quite a few terrible head coaches. The handful of playoff runs were largely fueled by short-term free agents, which is why there was never sustained success. What do the future dynamics look like for the Jets? Wilson will not gain 4,000 yards this season. He might not even make it to 2,000 if things continue as they are. His struggle struggles in 2 of the last 3 games, combined with questions about his leadership, have put him in the crosshairs. He plays for a defensive-minded coach in Saleh, who prefers to emphasize the running game, so he may not have the opportunity to put up prolific passing numbers for as long as they're together. Wilson has a little Fran Tarkenton and a little Brett Favre in him. He has a little bit of both of these guys in him, and he needs to work on that. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to find out about the consecutive losses in NFL history, which is pretty interesting, so stay tuned. What is the longest current NFL losing streak? The Arizona Cardinals are on the wrong side of history as they prepare for their Week 7 game against the New Orleans Saints on Thursday. It's been exactly 1 year since the Cardinals won at home in Week 7 of the 2021 season. The team is on an 8-game losing streak at State Farm Stadium, its longest since 1958. While 8 consecutive home losses is a long time, the Cardinals' current streak is nowhere near the NFL record. So which teams have lost the most matches in the history of the NFL? The current Super Bowl champions have the longest losing streak in NFL history, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having a 26-game skid being the only one that exceeds 20 games. It all started in 1976 with a 20-point loss to the Houston Oilers without a response. From there, they went on to lose all 14 games that season. They also lost the next 12 games in the following season. That winless streak came to an end with a 33-14 victory over the New Orleans Saints. It was the first time the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had won an NFL game, and it contributed to the firing of Saints head coach Hank Stram. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers might have won a Super Bowl, but the team also has the unfair honor of possessing the longest consecutive losing streak in NFL history. They haven't won a single game in almost 3 years. That was until they beat the New Orleans Saints in 1976. The Detroit Lions are ranked high on the chart of longest losing streaks as well. Their record is the only one that spans 3 seasons. In 2007, they were defeated 34-13 by the Green Bay Packers in all 16 games during the 2008 season. In the 2009 season, they finally broke their losing streak by defeating the Washington Redskins 19-14. What other teams share the title of the longest losing streak? The Houston Oilers had 2 terrible years in 1972 and 73. If they didn't score a win against the Baltimore Colts, they would have tied the record with 18 straight losses. The squad went on another terrible run, losing 17 straight games a decade later. The squad dropped 10 more games in 1983 after dropping 7 consecutive in 1982. The Houston Oilers are the only team in this list that appears twice. In 72 and 73, they went 1-13 in consecutive seasons. They could have surpassed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers record if not for a close 31-27 victory over the Baltimore Colts. However, this was not to be. A full decade after their previous disaster, the Houston Oilers embarked on another losing streak. That, thankfully, did not equal their franchise record by 1 game. They lost 7 consecutive games in 1982 and 10 more in 1983. To break the streak, they won 27-17 against the Detroit Lions. What is the longest NFL losing streak at home? Well, the Cardinals' 8-game home losing streak is the league's longest active streak. The Cardinals dropped 14 consecutive home games from 1941 to 1945, while the Buccaneers dropped their first 13 home games in franchise history from 76 to 77 as part of a 26-game losing streak. More recently, the Jaguars lost 10 consecutive home games from 2020 to 2021, while the Lions lost 9 consecutive home games from 2008 to 2009. Hey, let us know what you think, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.